Jinwoo stood at the entrance of the Galactic Academy of Advanced Sciences, looking up at the massive crystal dome above him. The space station's artificial gravity felt strange to him, like he was walking on the moon. His muscles, built for Earth's stronger gravity, made every step feel like he might float away. "Welcome, Earth student Jinwoo," a soft voice called out. A tall, blue-skinned woman with silver hair walked toward him. "I am Director Kim. We are very happy to have our first human student here." Jinwoo bowed politely, remembering his mother's advice about good manners. "Thank you for accepting me, Director. Please follow me to your orientation class," she said, leading him through the station's bright corridors. Jinwoo noticed how everything seemed built for comfort rather than durability. The walls were thin, and the doors looked like they would break easily. On Earth, everything was made stronger to handle the harsh conditions. When they entered the classroom, all eyes turned to Jinwoo. He saw students of different shapes, sizes, and colors. Some had scales, others had feathers, and a few looked like they were made of crystal. "Class, this is Jinwoo from Earth," Director Kim announced. "Earth was recently discovered, and we are excited to learn more about his planet." A student with purple skin and silver eyes raised her hand. "Is it true that Earth is a death world?" she asked. Her name tag read Hei-yun. "What's a death world?" Jinwoo asked, confused. "A planet with extreme conditions that most species cannot survive," another student named Do-young explained. He had green scales and looked somewhat like a humanoid lizard. "We heard Earth has terrible storms, dangerous animals, and powerful gravity." Jinwoo smiled. "Oh, we just call that home. Yes, we have storms and earthquakes sometimes. And yes, we have animals like tigers and bears. But it's not that bad once you get used to it." The whole class stared at him in shock. One crystal-like student, young Jin, almost fell from his chair. "You have earthquakes, and you think that's normal?" Hei-yun asked, her eyes wide. "Well, we build our houses strong enough to handle them," Jinwoo explained. He sat down at an empty desk, noticing how light the chair felt. "Actually, everything here feels very light to me. Is the gravity working properly?" Director Kim smiled. "The gravity is at standard galactic levels. Earth's gravity is about twice as strong as what most species are used to." The class broke into excited whispers. Jinwoo heard them talking about how strong he must be and wondering what other surprises Earth humans might have. During the first lesson about galactic physics, Jinwoo noticed he was the only one taking notes with a simple paper notebook. Everyone else used floating holographic screens. "Why are you using processed tree pulp?" Do-young asked, looking at Jinwoo's notebook with curiosity. "Paper is reliable," Jinwoo explained. "It works even if you lose power or drop it. On Earth, we learn to be prepared for anything." As the day went on, Jinwoo realized that what was normal for him seemed amazing to others. When he accidentally knocked over his metal water bottle, it made a loud clang that scared half the class. "Why is your drinking container so heavy?" Hei-yun asked, picking up the bottle with effort. "It's just regular stainless steel," Jinwoo said. "It needs to be strong enough to not break if I drop it while hiking or climbing." By the end of his first day, Jinwoo had become the most interesting student in class, not because he tried to be, but because everything about Earth seemed incredible to his classmates. As he walked to his room that evening, he smiled, thinking about all the other normal Earth things that might surprise his new friends. What he saw as everyday life was like an amazing adventure story to them. Maybe being the first human at the Academy would be more interesting than he thought. The second week at the Galactic Academy brought physical education class. Professor Yoon, a tall instructor with shimmering gold skin, gathered all students in the zero-gravity training chamber. "Today, we will practice movement in zero gravity," Professor Yoon announced. "This is essential for space travel and emergency situations." Jinwoo looked around the large, empty chamber. Other students were already floating gracefully, their bodies adapted to low-gravity environments. Jeho, a student with delicate silver wings, moved through the air like he was dancing. Earth student Jinwoo, please join us, Professor Yoon called. Jinwoo pushed off from the floor. His Earth-trained muscles, used to fighting against much stronger gravity, sent him shooting across the chamber like a rocket. Several students had to dodge quickly to avoid his path. Please control your strength, Professor Yoon said, trying to hide his surprise. Use gentler movements. Jinwoo apologized and tried again. This time, he barely moved his muscles and found he could float and turn quite easily. His classmates watched with interest as he quickly learned to control his movements. Now we will begin the obstacle course, Professor Yoon announced. He pressed a button, and several floating platforms, rings, and barriers appeared in the chamber. You must reach the other side without touching any obstacles. This tests your precise movement control. Students went one by one. Many moved slowly and carefully through the course. Some got stuck at difficult turns. Jiho completed it with grace, but took nearly 5 minutes. When it was Jinwoo's turn, he studied the course carefully. On Earth, he had enjoyed rock climbing and gymnastics. Those skills seemed useful now. He pushed off gently from the starting point. Instead of trying to float through the entire course, he used the platforms as springboards. His strong fingers could grip the edges of platforms firmly, letting him control this direction perfectly. Each push was calculated and precise. The whole class watched in amazement as Jinwoo completed the course in just 2 minutes. He moved like he had trained in zero gravity his whole life. Impossible, Haehyun whispered. How did you learn so quickly? On Earth, we play many sports that require quick movements and good balance. Jinwoo explained after returning to the group. Rock climbing taught me how to use my hands and feet to control movement. Gymnastics helped me understand how to turn and flip in the air. Professor Yoon looked at his data tablet with great interest. Your muscle control is extraordinary. Earth's gravity has given you remarkable advantages. You use much less energy than others, yet move with more precision. The next exercise involved lifting and moving objects in zero gravity. Again, Jinwoo surprised everyone. Objects that other students found heavy seemed light to him. He could easily catch and throw items that made others struggle. It's because everything on Earth is heavier, Jinwoo explained to his amazed classmates. Our bones and muscles grow stronger to handle the gravity. Even our children's toys would feel heavy to you. By the end of class, students gathered around Jinwoo, asking questions about Earth sports and exercises. Young Jin, the crystal-like student, seemed particularly interested. Could you teach us some Earth exercises? Young Jin asked. We might need strong muscles like yours someday. Jinwoo smiled. Sure, but we'll have to be careful. Earth exercises might be too intense for you at first. Professor Yoon made notes on his tablet. I believe we need to create a special training program just for you, Jinwoo. Your physical capabilities are far beyond our standard exercises. As they left the chamber, Jinwoo realized that his normal Earth abilities seemed like superpowers here. He wondered what other surprises would come from being a human in the galaxy. Professor Lee stood at the front of the xenobiology classroom, her holographic display showing various planetary environments. For this month's project, you will study how different species adapt to extreme environments. Please form groups of 3. Sangma, a student with iridescent scales, and Minho, whose skin seemed to shift colors like a chameleon, quickly joined Jinwoo's table. They had become curious about Earth after seeing his performance in physical education class. Each group will present their findings about survival adaptations. Professor Lee continued. You may choose any planet's environment to study. We should study Earth, Sangme suggested immediately. Jinwoo can tell us first-hand information. Jinwoo nodded. That's a good idea. Which part of Earth should we focus on? What do you mean, which part? Minho asked, his skin turning a confused shade of blue. Well, Earth has many different environments, Jinwoo explained. We have hot deserts, frozen poles, deep oceans, high mountains, thick forests, and wide grasslands. Humans live in all these places. His partners stared at him in silence. Professor Lee, who had been walking past their table, stopped suddenly. "You mean humans survive in multiple extreme environments?" she asked, her professional tone breaking with surprise. "Without technological assistance?" "Yes," Jinwoo replied. "For example, people live in the Sahara Desert, where temperatures can reach 50 degrees Celsius during the day and drop below freezing at night." The professor quickly made notes on her tablet while Sangmi's scales flickered with excitement. "How do humans handle such temperature changes?" Minho asked, his skin now a bright yellow of curiosity. "Our bodies are good at keeping a steady temperature," Jinwoo explained. "We can sweat to cool down and shiver to warm up. We also build different types of houses and wear different clothes for each climate." Professor Lee was still listening. "And these adaptations are natural, not engineered?" "Yes, we evolved this way over time," Jinwoo said. "Some humans even live in the Himalayas, mountains so high that most species would find it hard to breathe there. Their bodies adapted to use less oxygen." The whole class had gradually stopped their discussions to listen to Jinwoo. Even students from other groups turned their chairs around. "What about water?" Sangmi asked. "Every species needs specific water conditions." Jinwoo smiled. "Humans can drink from mountains, rivers, lakes, and even process seawater if needed. We also eat many different types of food. Our stomachs can handle a wide variety of plants and animals." Professor Lee's tablet was now full of notes. "Jinwoo, would your group consider presenting first? This information about human adaptability is fascinating." For the next week, Jinwoo worked with Sangmi and Minho to prepare their presentation. He showed them pictures of Earth's different environments and explained how humans survived in each one. His partners were amazed by simple things like how humans could walk for hours in snow or swim in both cold and warm water. "Most species need carefully controlled environments," Sangmi explained to Jinwoo while they worked. "That's why the Academy's temperature never changes. Even small variations can make us sick. That explains the strange looks I got when I asked for spicy food in the cafeteria," Jinwoo said, making his partners laugh. Their project was coming together well, but Jinwoo realized something important. What he saw as normal human abilities were actually remarkable adaptations. Each day at the Academy taught him more about how special Earth's creatures were, especially humans. "Earth truly is an amazing planet," Minho said as they finished their project. "It created amazing species like you." Jinwoo smiled, feeling proud of his home world for the first time since arriving at the Academy. The Academy's dining hall buzzed with the usual lunchtime activity. Jinwoo sat at his regular table, enjoying his meal with Hae-yun and Youngjin. Today's lunch was a standard galactic protein dish, which tasted rather bland to his Earth-accustomed taste buds. "Jinwoo, tell us more about Earth," Youngjin said, his crystal body reflecting the dining hall's soft light. "You mentioned something about creatures called bears in class yesterday." Before Jinwoo could answer, several other students moved closer to their table. News of his interesting Earth stories had spread through the Academy. "Bears are large predators that live in Earth's forests and mountains," Jinwoo explained. "They can be twice as tall as a human when standing up, and they're incredibly strong. Some can even fish in rivers with their bare paws." "Predators? You mean Earth has wild animals that hunt other creatures?" Hae-yun asked, her purple skin paling slightly. Jinwoo nodded. "We have many predators. Lions hunt in groups on the grasslands. Tigers stalk their prey in forests. Wolves work together in packs to catch food. And in the oceans, we have sharks." "What are sharks?" asked a new voice. It was Du Young, who had just arrived with his lunch tray. "Sharks are ocean predators. Some are longer than this table." Jinwoo gestured to indicate the size. "They have multiple rows of sharp teeth and can smell blood from far away. Some can even sense the electrical signals from other creatures' muscles. The gathered students looked horrified. One student nearly dropped her drink. And humans survive alongside these creatures? Young Jin asked in disbelief. We do more than survive, Jin Woo said. We study them, protect endangered species, and some people even work to help injured predators recover. There are scientists who spend their lives learning about these animals. But how do you defend yourselves? Heyun asked. We learn about their behavior and habits. Each predator has its own patterns. Bears, for example, usually avoid humans unless they feel threatened or if they're protecting their cubs. We have guidelines for what to do if we meet different predators. Jinwoo took out his tablet and showed them pictures of various Earth predators. His classmates gathered around, a mixture of fear and fascination on their faces. Look at those teeth, Du Young exclaimed, seeing a picture of a tiger. Those are the creatures you consider normal? Young Jin asked, his crystalline structure vibrating with excitement. No wonder you found our physical education exercises easy. Well, humans are technically predators too, Jin Woo added. Our ancestors had to hunt for food. We can run for long distances, throw objects accurately, and our brains help us make tools and plan strategies. The lunch period was almost over, but students kept asking questions. They wanted to know about more Earth creatures, how humans defended themselves, and what it was like to live on a planet with such dangerous animals. In my homeworld, the largest predator is smaller than your hand, Heyun shared. Most species evolved to avoid conflict. We never imagined a world where creatures regularly hunt each other. Jinwoo realized that Earth's natural balance of predators and prey was unique. What seemed like basic nature to him was incredible to others. Even the Academy's teachers had started joining these lunchtime discussions, taking notes about Earth's ecosystem. Tomorrow, I'll tell you about honey badgers, Jinwoo promised as they prepared to return to class. They're small, but they fear nothing, not even the largest predators. As they walked to their next class, Jinwoo heard his classmates discussing Earth's creatures with a mixture of fear and admiration. He smiled, thinking about how his home planet's everyday wildlife had become the most exciting topic in the Academy's dining hall. Professor Hyun-sik's advanced chemistry laboratory was always an interesting place, filled with strange equipment and glowing substances. Today, the class was studying how different species react to various chemical compounds. Remember, safety is our primary concern, Professor Hyun-sik said, adjusting his protective suit. Each species has different tolerances to chemicals. What is harmless to one might be dangerous to another. Jinwoo sat at his workstation with his partner, Sunmai, a student whose skin had a metallic sheen. They were analyzing chemical reactions in different atmospheric conditions. During the experiment, Jinwoo noticed something odd about Sunmi's sample. The color was changing faster than it should, indicating an unstable reaction. Without hesitation, he reached over and adjusted the temperature control. The reaction was becoming too hot. Jinwoo explained to a surprised Sunmi. I could smell the chemical change. Professor Hyun-sik hurried over, his sensors confirming Jinwoo's observation. How did you detect this? Our sensors only just registered the change. Earth creatures have developed strong senses to detect dangerous substances, Jinwoo explained. Many poisonous things have distinct smells or tastes that warn us of danger. The professor looked fascinated. And you can identify these naturally, without technology. Yes, humans have learned to recognize many dangerous situations through our senses. It helped us survive on Earth. This caught the attention of other students. Da-hyun, working at the next station, turned to listen. Professor, Da-hyun called out, isn't it true that Earth has many toxic substances in its environment? Indeed, Professor Hyun-sik replied. Earth's atmosphere alone contains elements that would be lethal to many species. Jinwoo, could you explain how humans manage this? Jinwoo thought for a moment. Our bodies have developed ways to handle many toxic substances. Our liver can process various toxins, our skin protects us from harmful radiation, and our lungs can filter out dangerous particles. The professor pulled up a holographic display of human biology. Class, observe this. Humans have evolved multiple systems to handle substances that would kill most species. Their bodies can even use some toxic elements in small amounts. Sun Mi looked at Jinwoo with new respect. Is that why you don't wear a filtration mask like the rest of us? Earth's air is much more varied than the filtered air here, Jinwoo explained. We're used to dealing with different atmospheric conditions. Professor Hyunsik then conducted a demonstration. He showed how various chemical compounds affected different species' biological samples. The human samples showed remarkable resilience. This is why Earth species are so fascinating, the professor explained. They don't just survive toxic environments. They adapt and thrive in them. As the class continued their experiments, Jinwoo helped other students understand chemical safety from an Earth perspective. He explained how humans learned which mushrooms were poisonous, how they discovered which plants had medicinal properties, and how they developed ways to make dangerous substances safe. On Earth, we have a saying, Jinwoo told his classmates. The dose makes the poison. Many things that can harm us can also help us if used correctly. By the end of class, Professor Hyunsik had made an unexpected announcement. Thanks to Jinwoo's insights, we will be adding a new unit on Earth biochemistry. Understanding how Earth life forms handle toxic substances could help us develop better safety protocols. As they cleaned their workstations, Sun Mi turned to Jinwoo. I never thought being poison-resistant would be a useful skill, she said with admiration. Jinwoo smiled. Once again, what seemed normal to him had proved extraordinary to others. Earth's challenges had made humans stronger in ways he never appreciated before coming to the academy. The warning sirens started during afternoon classes. Red lights flashed through the academy's corridors as the station's environmental systems began to fail. Attention all students and staff, the emergency announcement system declared. The primary environmental controls have malfunctioned. Backup systems are not responding. Please proceed to emergency shelters immediately. Jinwoo was in the library with Tahi and Juwon when the temperature started to rise. The artificial gravity began fluctuating, causing books and tablets to float off shelves. The emergency shelters are 2 levels down, Tahi said, her delicate wings trembling in the changing atmosphere. But in these conditions, many students won't be able to move safely. Jinwoo remembered his survival training from Earth. I can help. The changing gravity and temperature won't affect me as much. The station's temperature continued to rise, and the air pressure began to drop. Many students were already showing signs of distress. Some had trouble breathing, while others could barely move. The environmental suits are in the emergency lockers, Ju-won said, pointing down the corridor. His crystalline structure was already showing stress fractures from the temperature changes. Jinwoo moved quickly through the unstable gravity, using the skills he had learned in physical education class. He reached the emergency lockers and began distributing environmental suits to nearby students. Put these on quickly, he instructed, helping Tahi secure her suit. They will protect you from the temperature and pressure changes. Professor Yoon arrived, looking worried. The lower levels are worse. We have students trapped in the chemistry labs who cannot reach the shelters. I can get to them. Jinwoo volunteered. Earth's environment changes more extremely than this. I can handle it. The professor nodded, knowing Jinwoo's Earth-developed resilience made him the best choice. Be careful. The gravity stabilizers are completely offline in that section. Jinwoo made his way down to the chemistry labs, using walls and railings to control his movement in the zero gravity. The temperature had risen even higher, and the air was thin, but his Earth-adapted lungs could manage. In the labs, he found several students huddled in protective shields. Among them was Hae-yun, who had been helping younger students with their experiments. Jinwoo, she called out, relief clear in her voice. The emergency suits here are damaged. We cannot reach the shelters without protection. I'll carry those who can't walk, Jinwoo said, his Earth muscles proving valuable once again. The rest can follow close behind me. One by one, Jin Woo helped the students out of the labs. He carried the most affected ones, while guiding others through the failing gravity. His body's natural adaptations to Earth's challenging conditions made him the perfect person for this rescue. When they finally reached the emergency shelter, Professor Hyunsik was amazed. You managed to bring everyone safely through those conditions without an environmental suit. On Earth, we train for different types of emergencies, Jin Woo explained, checking if everyone was all right. Our bodies can handle short exposure to extreme conditions. It's part of living on a death world. The emergency lasted for 2 more hours before the maintenance crews restored the environmental systems. During this time, Jin Woo continued to help, carrying supplies and assisting those who needed medical attention. Later, when everything returned to normal, Tae approached Jin Woo. I used to think coming from a death world was a disadvantage, she admitted. But today showed us that Earth's harsh conditions created something remarkable in humans. Jin Woo smiled modestly. We just learned to be ready for anything. Earth taught us that the environment can change quickly, and we need to be prepared. The Academy's directors later commended Jin Woo for his actions during the emergency. His Earth-born abilities had helped prevent what could have been a serious disaster. More importantly, his classmates now understood that being from a death world wasn't just about surviving. It was about being ready to help others in need. The Academy's annual Cultural Exchange Day arrived, and the main hall was filled with excitement. Each student had the opportunity to share important aspects of their home world. After the recent environmental system emergency, everyone was especially interested in Jin Woo's presentation about Earth. Director Kim introduced him to the packed auditorium. After recent events, we are particularly eager to learn more about Earth and its remarkable inhabitants. Jin Woo stood at the podium, his presentation ready. The holographic display behind him showed Earth in all its natural beauty. Its blue oceans, green forests, white polar caps, and brown deserts. Earth is what you call a death world, Jin Woo began, but we call it home. Today, I want to show you how humans have not just survived, but explored every part of our planet. He showed images of Mount Everest, Earth's highest peak. This mountain is so high that the air contains very little oxygen. Most species would die quickly at this height, yet humans have climbed to its peak. We call these people mountaineers. The audience watched in amazement as Jin Woo explained how humans prepared for such climbs. He described their training, their special equipment, and their determination to reach the top. But humans don't just climb up, Jin Woo continued. We also explore the depths. He showed pictures of deep-sea exploration vehicles. Our oceans have places where the pressure is so strong it would crush most spacecraft. We built special vessels to explore these depths and study the creatures living there. Professor Lee raised her hand. How do humans survive such extreme pressure differences? We adapt gradually, Jin Woo explained. Our bodies are remarkably flexible. With proper training and equipment, we can survive in many environments that would normally be lethal. He then showed images of other human achievements. People running marathons in the desert, scientists living in Antarctica, explorers crossing vast oceans in small boats, and researchers studying active volcanoes. Humans have a strong desire to explore and understand our world, Jin Woo said. This drive has helped us develop many survival skills. Sun Le, sitting in the front row, spoke up. Is it true that humans continue exploring even after finding safe places to live? Yes. Jin Woo smiled. We explore because we're curious. Even when it's dangerous, we want to learn more about our world. This same curiosity brought us to the stars and eventually to this academy. The presentation moved on to show how humans had learned to live in different environments. Jin Woo explained how they built homes in deserts, tropical rainforests, frozen tundra, and even underground. Each environment taught us something new, he said. In cold regions, we learned to preserve food. In hot places, we learned to find and store water. In dangerous areas, we learned to watch for warning signs and help each other. As Jin Woo concluded his presentation, Director Kim stepped forward again. This explains why our first human student has shown such remarkable abilities. Earth has trained its people well. After the presentation, many students and teachers gathered around Jinwoo. They had more questions about Earth and human adaptability. Sun Mai approached with an announcement. "I have started a petition," she said excitedly. "We want the Academy to add Earth studies as a regular subject. There is so much we can learn from your world." Jinwoo felt proud. His home planet, once considered too dangerous for most species, was now becoming a source of valuable knowledge for the galaxy. Through sharing Earth stories, he had helped others understand that facing challenges could make a species stronger. The final semester at the Galactic Academy brought significant changes. Following Jinwoo's successful presentation at Cultural Exchange Day, the Academy Board had made a historic decision. They officially recognized Earth as a vital source of scientific knowledge, particularly in survival studies and adaptation research. Director Kim called Jinwoo to her office one morning. Her usually formal demeanor had softened with respect. "Your presence here has changed how we view Deathworld species," she said. "The board has approved a new research program focusing on Earth survival strategies." Jinwoo's final project would become the cornerstone of this new program. Working with Da-hyun and Jae-hyun, he developed a comprehensive study on applying Earth survival techniques to space exploration. Earth creatures adapted to so many environments, Da-hyun said during their project planning. "This could help us design better spacesuits and survival equipment." The project combined each team member's strengths. Jae-hyun's knowledge of advanced materials, Da-hyun's expertise in environmental systems, and Jinwoo's practical Earth experience created a powerful combination. Their research revealed surprising connections. The way polar bears preserved heat could improve spacesuit design. How desert creatures stored water could enhance life support systems. Even Earth plants' survival methods could help develop better space station oxygen systems. Human emergency protocols are particularly interesting, Jae-hyun noted as they worked. "Your species plans for problems before they happen. Most galactic societies focus on preventing emergencies instead of preparing for them." The Academy's teaching methods had also changed. Professor Hyun-sik now included Earth chemistry in his advanced classes. Professor Yoon had redesigned physical training to incorporate Earth exercise principles. Even the cafeteria had started serving Earth-inspired meals, though most students found them too intense. During their final presentation, the project team demonstrated their findings to the Academy Board and several galactic research councils. Earth's harsh conditions created unique solutions, Jinwoo explained to the audience. "By studying these adaptations, we can improve space exploration safety for all species." The presentation showed their new designs, spacesuits with better temperature control, emergency systems that worked even in extreme conditions, and training programs based on Earth survival skills. "This is revolutionary," one council member declared. "A Deathworld species has given us new ways to explore the galaxy safely." The project earned the highest honors in Academy history. More importantly, it opened new opportunities for cooperation between Earth and other worlds. Director Kim made another announcement during the graduation ceremony. "The Academy will now accept more students from Earth," she said. "We will also send students to Earth to study its environments, with proper safety measures, of course." Jinwoo's classmates, once skeptical of having a Deathworld student among them, had become strong supporters of Earth studies. Many plan to specialize in Earth sciences for their advanced degrees. "You showed us that being strong isn't just about surviving," Hae-hyun told Jinwoo after the ceremony. "It's about using that strength to help others." As Jinwoo prepared to return to Earth, he realized how much had changed. His world, once feared as too dangerous, had become a valued teacher for the galaxy. The stories he shared about everyday life on Earth had helped build bridges between different species. "Remember," he told his classmates during their farewell gathering, "Earth's challenges made humans stronger, but sharing our knowledge with others made us better." The Academy had learned that sometimes the most valuable lessons come from the most unexpected places, even from a death world called Earth.